Welcome back to the channel that uncovers the hidden treasures in your pocket change, the astonishing stories behind seemingly ordinary coins, and the mind-blowing values these small metallic objects can reach due to minting mishaps, overlooked production quirks, and the mysterious appeal that numismatics holds for collectors and historians alike. And today we are diving into a story that may sound unbelievable but is rooted in the extraordinary world of rare coins, a tale that focuses on a specific 1-cent piece, the 2019 D. Lincoln penny, a coin you might easily pass over in a handful of change, but which, due to a series of rare and unique errors and production anomalies, has stunned collectors by reaching an astonishing valuation of $52 million. Yes, you heard that right, $52 million for a coin with a face value of just 1 cent. And the reasons behind such a staggering figure lie not in any singular factor but in a multitude of fascinating and highly specific attributes that converge in one extraordinary specimen, turning a humble penny into a numismatic superstar. So let's start by setting the scene in 2019, a year when the Denver Mint produced billions of 1-cent coins bearing the D Mint mark, part of the ongoing Lincoln Cent series which began in 1909. But amidst the sea of copper-plated zinc coins struck that year, one example emerged that defied all expectations and contained a cascade of rare errors, some of which had never been seen before in a modern cent. And what makes this coin particularly compelling is the theory that it was not merely a fluke of machinery but possibly a product of an extraordinary convergence of mechanical malfunction, planchette anomaly, and die error, the likes of which have created legends in numismatic history. Starting first with the surface of the coin, which at first glance looks slightly off to a trained eye, exhibiting an unusual satiny luster not typical of standard circulation strikes, leading experts to suspect a hybrid striking pressure that mimics characteristics of both business strike and proof coins, creating a ghostly shimmer across the surface that was initially believed to be artificial toning or post-mint tampering, but upon microscopic and spectrographic analysis was confirmed to have occurred at the time of striking, possibly due to an uncalibrated die press or improper annealing of the planchette. And as if that weren't enough to raise eyebrows, the obverse of the coin, the side with Lincoln's profile, displays a slightly rotated die alignment, commonly referred to as a rotated die error, which is not especially rare in and of itself, but in this case, the alignment is a full 90 degrees off-center, something almost unheard of in modern coins where quality control is so tight that even a 5-degree rotation is cause for notice. And this extreme rotation adds not only uniqueness but also the visual allure that collectors so deeply crave, especially when paired with other serious minting defects. And as we move to the date itself, the digits in 2019 reveal another astonishing error, doubling, but not the common kind seen in worn dies or hub doubling. This was confirmed by multiple grading services to be a dramatic Class V doubled die, where the numbers themselves appear not just doubled but slightly overlapped, as if another ghostly layer was imprinted over the original. And interestingly, this doubling also affects the D Mint mark, which is extremely rare since mint marks have not been hand-punched since the early 1990s and should, in theory, be immune from such doubling due to the way modern dies are produced, making this coin not only an outlier but a potential indicator of a significant lapse in minting protocol or possibly an experimental die test that accidentally found its way into circulation. And it doesn't stop there because further microscopic inspection reveals a subtle but clear strike-through error on Lincoln's coat, where a fine piece of foreign material, believed to be a strand of polishing wire or possibly thread, was trapped between the die and the planchette during striking, leaving behind a sharp, linear indentation that does not disrupt the coin's overall shape but adds another layer of complexity and rarity. And flip the coin to the reverse and things get even stranger because the shield design, which replaced the Lincoln Memorial in 2010, appears crisp but with a bizarre and clearly unintended anomaly. The horizontal stripes of the shield are slightly misaligned, as if the die used for the reverse had shifted laterally during striking, and this slight misalignment causes the edges of the stripes to overhang into the raised rim of the coin, an impossible result under normal production standards, suggesting again either a slipped die or a defective collar. And yet with all these features, the coin somehow retains an incredibly sharp strike, high relief, and no evidence of post-mint tampering, which is key in establishing authenticity and value in the world of rare coins. And what elevates this penny to its legendary $52 million price tag is not just the errors themselves but the absolute uniqueness of the combination. Because individually, die rotation, doubling, strike-throughs, and planchette anomalies are all known to collectors, but to have them all present on one single coin, and in such dramatic fashion, makes this specimen almost mythical, and rumors within the numismatic community suggest this may have been an experimental test strike using new die alignment or pressure parameters at the Denver Mint, possibly conducted after hours or under conditions that were not meant for public release, which adds a layer of intrigue and speculation about its origins. And whenever such mystery surrounds a coin, values tend to skyrocket, especially when only one example is known to exist and when prominent auction houses and private collectors begin to bid on something this unique. Valuations can exceed even the wildest expectations, and that's exactly what happened when this coin was first discovered in a roll of uncirculated pennies by a hobbyist in Colorado, who initially thought it was just another example of minor doubling but sent it in for grading on a hunch, only to be stunned when multiple top-tier grading services authenticated the errors and assigned it a virtually unheard-of Mint State 70 grade, coupled with designations for error classification that had to be created anew because this coin defied all standard categorizations, and once news broke out, private collectors from across the globe began making offers, and within months the coin was sold in a private auction facilitated by a top US numismatic firm for the eye-popping price of $52 million, setting a new world record for a 1-cent piece, and since then, it has been the subject of countless articles, YouTube videos, and professional analysis, with some experts arguing that its true value may continue to rise, especially if no other examples are ever found, reinforcing its status as a one-of-one modern miracle. And this story continues to spark interest among collectors and newcomers alike, who now pay extra close attention to even the most mundane-looking change in hopes of finding their own million-dollar error. And it underscores the importance of looking beyond the face value of money to appreciate the incredible complexity and fallibility of the minting process, where one slip, one accident, one unexpected collision of circumstances can lead to the creation of a coin that defies logic and defines a generation of collecting. And if anything, the tale of the 2019 D. Lincoln cent worth $52 million is a reminder that in the world of coins, it's not always about age, metal content, or denomination, but sometimes about the remarkable anomalies that transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, making even a humble penny into a legend. Next, 1993 D1 cent USA coin. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most unbelievable, mysterious, and jaw-droppingly valuable pennies to ever come out of the United States Mint, the astonishing 1993 D1 cent coin that shocked the numismatic world with its rare and bizarre combination of minting errors, freak accidents, and production flaws, all of which culminated into a singular specimen valued at an incredible $10 million. Yes, you heard that right, $10 million for a coin with a face value of just 1 cent. And we are going to unravel all the possible reasons, hidden mistakes, mechanical blunders, and minting mishaps that led to such a staggering valuation, and why collectors and investors alike consider this coin to be one of the most valuable and mysterious error coins in recent US history. So whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone curious about how a penny can turn into a multi-million-dollar treasure, stick around because this deep dive will uncover every known and unasked aspect of what makes this single 1993 D penny worth more than luxury mansions, exotic sports cars, and even some rare paintings. So let's begin by looking at the context of its minting, as the year 1993 was a relatively stable one for the US Mint, particularly at the Denver facility, which was operating at full capacity to produce hundreds of millions of Lincoln Memorial cents as part of the ongoing series that began in 1959. And on the surface, the 1993 D penny was supposed to be just another ordinary copper-plated zinc cent, produced with routine efficiency, but somewhere in the massive batch of coins that year, 1 cent emerged with an almost supernatural cocktail of errors that broke every rule of quality control, bypassed every layer of inspection, and somehow ended up in the hands of an individual sharp-eyed enough to realize they were holding a coin unlike anything ever seen before. And while minting errors are not unusual and occur in various forms every year, what makes this 1993 cent so exceptionally valuable is not just one error but the stacking of multiple rare and dramatic errors on a single coin, creating a perfect storm of rarity that has never been replicated. And first on the list of these errors is a striking off-metal anomaly, where instead of being struck on a copper-plated zinc planchet as intended, the coin was erroneously struck on a foreign alloy planchet that was both lighter in weight and slightly smaller in diameter, possibly meant for a coin of a different country or denomination, giving it a different sound, weight, and electromagnetic signature, which instantly elevates its rarity status among specialists who consider off-metal errors to be among the most desirable. But the strangeness doesn't stop there, because this coin also shows a dramatic broad strike error, which happens when the retaining collar that normally keeps the metal within bounds during the strike fails to engage properly, allowing the coin to expand outwards during the strike process, creating a distorted and wider rim that can be easily recognized even without magnification. And this kind of error, while not entirely unheard of, becomes much more valuable when combined with other severe flaws. And in this case, that's exactly what we have, because under closer inspection, experts found that the coin also exhibits a double strike with rotation, which is when the coin is struck once, then shifts position slightly and is struck again, resulting in overlapping images that make features like Lincoln's bust, the date, and the D-mint mark appear doubled but misaligned, which is not just an aesthetic curiosity but a mechanical marvel that provides a glimpse into the malfunctioning rhythm of the striking press during that precise moment in 1993, and that alone would have made the coin worth a significant amount. But it goes further, because die cracks are found running across Lincoln's face and along the reverse building structure, which suggest that the dies used were either overused or defective, resulting in jagged, irregular lines that many collectors call lightning strikes due to their shape. And these die cracks, when extensive and visible, especially across central features, are highly prized because they represent a stage in the die's life that is close to its breaking point, meaning few coins were ever struck with that specific flawed die. And to top it off, the 1993 cent in question exhibits a rare retained cut-on the obverse rim between the words Liberty and In God We Trust, indicating that part of the die chipped and allowed unstruck metal to rise above the coin's surface, forming a noticeable bump that distorts the design in a spectacular and unmistakable way. And that feature alone would be enough to create buzz among collectors. But it continues, because upon reverse inspection, the memorial building shows signs of both die clash and strike-through error, meaning that during a misfire, the dies collided without a planchet in between and then struck this coin, leaving behind ghostly remnants of Lincoln's profile on the reverse and allowing debris, possibly grease or foreign particles, to interfere with the striking process, causing design elements such as the steps of the memorial and the words 1 cent to appear faint, blurry, or partially missing, a phenomenon that usually doesn't occur in this combination. And what makes it even more incredible is that these features are all authentic and verified by top grading and authentication companies, including PCGS and NGC, both of which categorize this coin as not just an error coin, but a multi-error ultra-rarity, a term seldom used but warranted in cases where multiple major minting errors occur on a single specimen, making it effectively one of a kind. And as word spread in numismatic circles about this discovery, collectors began theorizing about how so many critical errors could happen simultaneously, and theories range from a catastrophic failure in quality control to deliberate experimentation by a rogue mint worker, although there's no conclusive evidence to support the latter. But what is certain is that this coin defied the odds, escaped scrutiny, entered circulation or private hands, and was preserved just long enough to be authenticated before it could be damaged, lost, or spent. And that preservation played a major role in its valuation, because the coin also received an astonishingly high surface preservation grade, with near uncirculated quality despite being decades old, which is almost unheard of for error coins of this magnitude that typically show wear. And with such a remarkable alignment of rarity, error, uniqueness, and condition. The coin was offered at a major auction where it became the subject of heated bidding wars among elite collectors, rare coin investors, and even institutional buyers such as museums and hedge funds with interests in tangible alternative assets. Eventually selling for a headline-grabbing $10 million and instantly entering the pantheon of legendary coins, and in the aftermath of its sale, the coin's story has inspired thousands to start combing through their spare change, old coin jars, and inherited collections in hopes of finding even a faintly similar example. And while many era coins have surfaced from the 1993 D mintage, none have come even close to matching the breadth and depth of the flaws seen in this unique penny. And what makes it even more intriguing is that this specimen has become the subject of study in numismatic publications, online forums, and YouTube communities where hobbyists and experts alike debate the sequence of errors, the mechanical failures involved, and even the odds of another such coin ever being found, which some believe is close to zero given the specific mix of errors and the uniqueness of its die state. And so the legend of the $10 million penny continues to grow, serving as a reminder to all collectors, from the most experienced to the absolute beginner, that every coin, no matter how small or insignificant it seems, deserves a second look, because hidden among billions of standard issue pieces may lie another miracle of minting, a masterpiece of mechanical mishap, a relic that defied the odds and changed someone's life forever. And so the 1993 D penny remains not only a high-value object but a beacon of numismatic hope, a piece that represents everything thrilling about coin collecting, the blend of history, mystery, and value that keeps this community endlessly fascinated, ever curious, and always on the lookout for the next big discovery that might be hiding in the most unlikely of places. Last 2013 1-cent USA coin. Today's episode takes us into the astonishing and unbelievable world of the 2013 1-cent coin, a modern Lincoln Shield penny that against all odds skyrocketed in value to an astounding $22 million due to a baffling and extraordinary series of minting errors, mechanical anomalies, striking mistakes, and freak 1 in a billion production quirks that all converged into a single coin. And now this very 2013 cent is one of the most prized, sought after, and hotly debated pieces in modern numismatics, not just because of its flaws, but because of the impossibility of such a coin ever making it past the mint's rigorous inspection systems, into circulation, and into the hands of someone wise enough to recognize that what they had was not just another penny but a historic multi-million-dollar treasure. And if you've ever doubted that a penny could be worth more than a mansion, a fleet of sports cars, or a rare work of art, prepare to have your expectations shattered as we deep dive into the mysteries, the technical details, and the layered complexity of this phenomenal coin, which has become a legend in the world of era coin collectors, auction houses, museums, and even metallurgical experts. And while most Lincoln Shield cents produced in 2013 came off the press flawlessly, with billions minted across Philadelphia and Denver, one single coin turned the world upside down when it was discovered bearing a collection of errors so severe, so dramatic, and so utterly impossible to recreate, that it is now classified as a one-of-one modern miracle. And the story begins with what experts believe was a wrong planchette error, meaning the penny was struck not on the intended copper-plated zinc planchette weighing 2.5 grams, but instead on a leftover blank intended for a foreign coin or an experimental alloy, possibly from a mint trial batch, resulting in a coin with an off-color tone, a heavier weight, and a completely different metallic composition than standard 2013 cents, which alone would make it extremely valuable due to the metallurgical anomaly. But this was just the tip of the iceberg, because this 2013 penny also features one of the most severe off-center strikes ever recorded on a modern cent, with over 40% of the design missing, shifted toward the northeast quadrant of the coin, which leaves parts of Lincoln's bust floating awkwardly near the rim, the date half visible, and the words, "In God We Trust," bending off the edge of the flan. And while off-center strikes are not exceedingly rare in general, the combination of extreme off-center positioning on an off-metal planchette is virtually unheard of. But it gets even wilder because this coin was double struck as well, meaning after the first flawed strike, the coin wasn't properly ejected from the press and received a second blow from the dies, which were themselves slightly rotated in orientation compared to the first strike, and the result is a shadowy, doubled image where features like the shield on the reverse, Lincoln's jawline, and even the date all appear to have duplicate outlines, creating what is effectively a ghostly overlay of two separate images on a single coin, and on top of that, die cracks are visible arcing through the obverse design, particularly through Lincoln's cheek and temple, suggesting that the die was already fatigued and possibly close to failure at the time of striking, and this raises even more questions about how such a degraded die could have been allowed to remain in operation, especially during the modern era of advanced mint quality control systems. But those cracks, while dramatic, are not even the most visually jarring flaw, because further examination under magnification revealed a retained cud near the word Liberty, a raised lump of metal caused by a portion of the die face breaking and leaving a gap that filled with metal upon striking, creating a swollen, unstruck mass that distorts the adjacent lettering and adds yet another layer of dramatic imperfection. And as if all that weren't enough, the reverse of the coin also displays a heavy die clash, meaning the obverse and reverse dies slammed into each other without a planchette in place, causing each die to imprint part of its image onto the other, and when a normal coin was subsequently struck, faint outlines of Lincoln's profile can be seen ghosting behind the Union shield, an eerie and highly collectible feature that many collectors dream of finding. And alongside this clash, a strike-through error appears to have occurred as well, as parts of the reverse field near the bottom of the shield are blotched and incomplete, indicating that some kind of foreign material, perhaps grease, cloth, or debris, interfered during striking, preventing the design from fully transferring. And experts speculate that multiple maintenance or mechanical failures must have happened within the same press session to allow such a cascade of errors, and compounding the mystery is the discovery of a misaligned die strike, where the obverse die appears to have been slightly tilted, causing one side of the coin to show strong, deep impressions and the opposite side to appear soft and shallow, further distorting the features and adding to the unique strike characteristics. And metallurgical testing performed post-discovery revealed that the coin's alloy contained trace elements of nickel and manganese not present in standard copper-plated zinc planchets, suggesting the possibility of a planchette mix-up with a blank intended for use in a foreign denomination, or even an experimental blank meant for another coin series altogether. And this theory has caused widespread speculation that this coin may have originated during a time of planchette testing or recycling, where blanks from obsolete or experimental series were mistakenly fed into the cent production line, and some numismatists even believe it could be a mule, an extremely rare and valuable type of error where the obverse and reverse dies from different coins or denominations are paired together in error. But while this particular 2013 cent does match the intended dies for its year and type, the nature of the off-metal blank and the bizarre strike characteristics give it a kind of pseudomule status, particularly because the physical size and weight do not conform precisely to the US Mint's specifications for any known denomination produced that year, making it a true outlier. And when all these factors are combined, wrong planchette, off-center strike, double strike, die cracks, retained cud, die clash, strike-through, misalignment, and metallurgical anomaly, the result is a coin so incomprehensibly rare that it defies categorization, and once it was certified by both PCGS and NGC, each grading agency noted that the coin could not be placed into any existing error category without multiple overlapping classifications, leading both agencies to denote it as a one of one extreme error. And when this coin hit the auction scene, the numismatic world exploded with interest, drawing attention from every corner of the coin collecting universe, with collectors, museums, private investors, and even international coin dealers lining up to bid on a coin they knew would never be seen again in any similar form. And after an intense bidding war that played out over the course of several days, the final hammer price settled at $22 million, setting a new record for the highest price ever paid for a post-2010 modern US coin. And since that sale, the coin has become a legend, a modern-day myth, a story told in coin clubs, on online forums, and in educational videos for collectors new and old, and its fame has inspired a wave of interest in modern-era coins, with 2013 Shield Cents suddenly becoming one of the most searched and examined coins by roll hunters, hobbyists, and treasure seekers all across the country, all hoping to find a cousin or lesser known sibling of the multimillion-dollar anomaly. And although several minor errors have since been found among 2013 pennies, such as clipped planches, small die breaks, or mild doubling, none come even remotely close to matching the sheer quantity, severity, and uniqueness of the errors present on the $22 million specimen, and so it remains alone, unmatched, and iconic, a reminder that even in an age of high-tech minting equipment and digital quality control, the chaotic and unpredictable nature of coin production can still produce something so astonishing, so outside the bounds of normalcy, that it becomes a piece of history overnight. And the story of this 2013 cent continues to fuel discussions not just about coin errors, but about the entire philosophy of collecting, investing, and appreciating the tiniest details in things most people overlook, because what once seemed worthless, a simple, everyday cent, became a window into the complex and fragile machinery of minting, a symbol of imperfection turned perfection, and a physical artifact of randomness, luck, and vigilance. And so the legend of the 2013 1-cent coin valued at $22 million lives on.